Bienvenidos and welcome to the UHW recap. I am Senor Manuel Maximo, and to my left is Senor Nick Patrick Holdeman. How are you doing tonight, Senor Nick?
I'm doing pretty good. Down driving was great. Got down here to the basement, which they keep at damn near freezing. I gotta say. I mean, pay too much money to deal with this freezing shit.
I know they could at least given us blankets or something, but anyway, we're not here to talk about the freezing. We're here to talk about what happened last time on DNA. So, last time on DNA, we opened the show with Triple B coming to the ringside. Jasper took the mic and said that he took care of Mac last week, breaking his arm, and that since Mac was out of the picture now, that made him the number one contender for the United Universal Championship. He then went on to say that, like he was promised, Vince Easterwood was at the arena and would be facing him that later that night as punishment for interfering with Triple B's business. He said that he figured out why Vince interfered. He wanted a shot at the title as well, and with Jasper out of the way, he would have it. But it didn't matter because that night Vince was going to learn the 11th commandment, thou shalt not fuck, with Triple B. Just as they were getting ready to leave, Nick introduced Jasper to Sierra Sin, the crazed fan who has been seen the couple of weeks in the crowd cheering for Jasper. Jasper said that she at least had some common sense for being a fan of Triple B, and that if she thought she had what it took to be a true Triple B fan, she would have to earn it. He sent her back over the barricade, and Triple B left the ring.
And yeah, and that moved right into our first match of the evening as Jesse Darkwatch took on somebody who's had a very weird change that, frankly, Manuel, scares the hell out of me because Anarchy usually fights back in her matches, but ever since losing to Honey Blunts, she hasn't.
I know it is very crazy, very
I,
loco.
I don't know what to think of it. And you know me, I'm rarely speechless. I was on commentary when that happened, and I was speechless.
I know you were very speechless with that match. Well, anyway, what happened during that match?
Well, Jesse dominated the match, hitting her with move after move, and Anarchy just sat there. Even with Jesse begging her former trainer to snap out of it and fight back, Anarchy wouldn't, and Jesse finally ended it mercifully with the migraine, and that was it.
Well,
there was some stuff that happened after the match as well, wasn't there, Manuel?
yes, there was. Following the match, Honey came out and climbed into the ring, mic in hand. She said that it seems that she finally found her next opponent for the UHW Women's Championship, and she announced Anarchy Fang. She said this match should be right up her alley, calling for an I Quit match. Well, Crimson said she agreed on her behalf on one condition that there was a signed contract. Well, Honey laughed and asked how Anarchy would sign her name like this, and Crimson said that by being her wife, that meant she could sign the contract for Anarchy, and yes, that is true. Honey agreed and said that next week there will be a contract signing. With that, Honey left the ring, and the fans stood around grinning before they left the ring area.
Manuel, you never told me you had a law background. That's nice to know. But anyway. Next, Kieran came out with his International Honored Crown Championship and said that he would be a fighting champion, defend it every week against anybody who would challenge him. That brought out Yancey Lowe, and he wanted to challenge him and be the first one challenge and the first one to take and the next one to take the title, since he's the only one in UHW who deserved to have gold around his waist. Kieran said, as good as an idea as that sounded, he's going to have to decline because Yancey had a match that night. But he'll get the title shot the next week. and it would even yet what Yancey called a stipulation, which Yancey wanted to break Kieran's arm, so it's going to be a submission match. Valid match idea, right, Manuel?
Yes, valid, yes.
And Kieran accepted. The match is going to be the next week, and Kieran and Maxine left the ring. Yancey's opponent was called out. And yes, I'm reading this right. The Hellhound Kevin Foss. So, Manuel, tell us what happened in that match.
Well, Senor Haldeman, once the bell rang, it was blatantly obvious that Yancey did not want to be in this match. He refused, but the bell rang, which meant the match was on. Yancey took it to the Hellhound early, hitting him with a flurry of kicks and punches. It took a little bit, but the Hellhound started making a gradual comeback. That is, until the referee was knocked out cold with a clothesline from Yancey that knocked the Hellhound onto him. Yancey went for a quick recover, but the referee was out cold and there was no count. Just then, Giddens' music hit, and out he came, taunting at Yancey, pointing at his belt. This distracted Yancey long enough for the Hellhound to regain his composure, get back to his feet, and soon as Yancey turned around, delivered the spiral to hell on him, picking up the 3. Well, following the match, a rather sore Yancey attacked the Hellhound, dropping a foot right into the babymaker before leaving the ring.
Yes, and then next we had Izzy Kessel come out and started saying something that sounded like poetry, but in actuality was her take on wrestling in general. She said things like, there is no good, there is no evil, there is no light, there is no dark, there is only one person punishing another, and she decided that this is the way that she was going to fashion her career, by punishing her opponents. Very interesting statements. But Intervention came out, which, for those of you who don't know, and if you don't, shame on you. That's Vince, Wolfie, and Tricia is called Intervention. They came out to her and all 3 pleaded with her to come to her senses. But since she would not listen to them at all, her mind was made up, and this new uncaring, unfeeling person is who she was. She was going to inflict pain and agony on her opponents. And then she told Intervention to leave the ring, as management had given her somebody to play with. As they left the ring, her opponent, and sorry if I pronounce this wrong, I'm going to butcher names. At least I apologize up front, right, Manuel?
That is true, senor.
Katie Skits Zubersnack. Got that right. God, let me... Right, but anyway. Was introduced, and you're going to tell us what happened in that match, aren't you, Manuel?
Si, senor, I will. Well, as this match was, to say the least, very brutal. While Katie tried her hardest to endure and overcome the onslaught from Izzy, it wasn't going to work. Izzy even delivered Wolfie's finisher, the Scavenger, onto the poor girl. And just when we thought that she was going for a pin, she instead slid out of the ring, grabbed a lead pipe, and got Katie into a neck wrench, repeatedly striking Katie in the chest and the head with that pipe. Over and over and over again, she would beat Katie until Intervention finally came in and pulled her off of Katie. Izzy told them to back off. Trisha pleaded with her to calm down and come to her senses. Finally, Izzy snapped, hitting Wolfie, her own husband, with the bitch house, and then putting him in the mark of the pack. That is Wolfie's own submission finisher. Trisha and Vince tried to pull her off of him, but she would not release her grip on a furiously tapping Wolfie. Finally, Toxic slid in the ring with a microphone, telling them to leave her sister alone. They stopped Izzy, who released her grip on Wolfie, to the stunned surprise of Intervention, and her and Toxic left the ring.
Yeah, and that, as weird as that was, Vince handed his necklace to Trisha after they left and told her to take Wolfie backstage. He's got some unfinished business to attend to. And he called Jasper out, saying the reason he stopped him wasn't because he wanted a shot at the title, but that he wanted to stop Jasper from getting a shot at Wolfie's title. And if Jasper thought he was going to take it, he would have to get through Vince first. This brought out Jasper along with Nick Patrick Halderman from Triple B, and the match was on. From the opening bell, Jasper took a quick control of the match, but Vince was quickly able to come back, countering, drilling for oil, and really working out Jasper's arm in an attempt to make her submit to what appeared to be the crossface. Vince had a slight upper hand. It was a back-and-forth match, but he was finally able to lock that crossface in when Sierra Sin hopped the barricade and shoved Alfie's face into her chest because, really, Manuel, who doesn't like a good motorboating? But anyway. This distracted Alfie and who didn't see Jasper tapping out. And that prompted Vince to check on the situation as Alfie shoved Sierra away and turned back to the match. Jasper hit drilling for oil and got the win. Following the match, Jasper grinned, said maybe that Sierra did have a place in Triple B, and brought her backstage with him.
Well, has Izzy finally gone off the deep end? What's more, has Toxic finally accepted her as a sister? Will Anarchy snap out of it in time for the championship match? Why were the fans grinning? Well, the answers to this and much, much more await on the next episode of Havoc.
Yes, and next question for the next recap, how much colder will it get in here? For Manuel Maximo, I am the freezing Nick Patrick Halderman. Goodbye.
Adios.
Seriously, man, how cold can it get down here? I mean, geez. It's like it's 30 below.
I know it's very cold.